And it was like, don't use that terminology. Off a torn labrum.
Well, you talk about a belated birthday present for him. If that were to happen and he were playing on Friday, it'd be a belated birthday present for all Laker fans.
Controlled by Tyson Chandler as the Hornets will have it begin the fourth. The final 12 minutes as well. So here we go. Chris Paul, former Rookie of the Year. He'll be tracked by Derek Fisher. That's the key matchup at the outset because he makes them all better. Mim out of position. West setting up Mo Peterson. And Rhodey keeps it away from Chandler. Chandler comes in averaging 14 rebounds a game. Early offense, Fish all the way to the hoop with the right hand. And that's where the Lakers have excelled. Early, easy offense.
Well, Phil talked about getting some easy baskets, and the Lakers have done so far in this early season, done a pretty good job. Derek Fisher's going to pick up a blocking foul as Tyson Chandler just ran through that stop sign. And Derek says, that's a stop sign. You can't just call it on me. Then they reverse the call and give it to an offensive foul to Tyson Chandler. Byron Scott looks like, make up your mind, guys.
Last game against the Lakers last year, he had 22 points and 22 rebounds.
That's one of those screens and you leave too soon. The screener just holds the screen a little longer.
Whoever has got Stojakovic should capitalize. Not much of a defender.
Well, they waste all their energy. They'll guard him.
Roney and Kobe tried to pick it from behind. Chandler cleared it out. Wrong guy free. Stojakovic, he missed 69 games last season. Played in only 13, had back surgery in December. Early entry, early offense. Roney, switch pivot feed. Got a break there. So the Lakers down by a point early. Kobe wanted to make the extra pass, and it's out of bounds. And it looked like he had a good-looking shot himself on the left side.
But that's all right. That's the kind of a turnover. Obviously, you don't like any turnovers, but if you're going to have them be that kind where you're trying to help one of your teammates.
He wanted to share it with Chris Mim.
You know, Luke and Kobe can switch anything. They're pretty much the same size, so they can switch things.
David West into the paint with the left hand, and Roney leans on him and gets the foul.
It's going to be critical for the Lakers in this game to do a couple of things. One, they must keep Chris Paul out of the paint because he creates so many opportunities, but one of the opportunities he creates is for Tyson Chandler. One of their bigs has to leave Tyson. That frees him up for his pogo stick act around the rim, and he is really good at putting him back in.
Yeah, he cleaned everything up last year for them. He was second in the league in rebounding, first in the league, what you talk about, Stu, in offensive rebounds, 4.5 a game. Out of his 12 rebounds last year, and in fact 12.5, almost 13 rebounds last year with 2 blocks of contest.
And that happens when you get dribble penetration, and his man has to go and be the last line of defense and frees him up for offensive rebounding. The other area is Luke Walton has to really, whoever's guarding Peyton Stojakovic, and happens to be Luke right now, really has to stay at home a little bit more.
Lakers down early by 3. Kobe's got to make him pay if Stojakovic is going to guard Kobe. It'll be running. Little jump hook is short. Picked up by Stojakovic. But Stojakovic make him expend something. Tyson Chandler, easy one. Running the floor, and Chris Mim didn't get back in time. 7-2.
And tell you something, Tyson Chandler is a gazelle.
Beautiful run on the baseline. Luke underneath though. On the fall away. Bad break, but Roney will go right back with it. 3-point deficit. Roney's on the board. So Fish the first, the second, and both of them right next to the rim.
There's the high screen by Tyson. And fortunately, the Lakers rotated.
West. A little jab step, never put it to the ground, and that's tough when you got a power forward facing up from 20 feet away.
And he is a very talented player. So Roney or whoever else, they have their hands full.
On the screen and roll. Wanted to go back to Roney. Chris Mim having a problem. Finally, it'll be Roney. Shot clock coming down on the Lakers. Beautiful extra pass, and it'll be a walk on Mim. Mim took the extra step on the flyby. Mo Peterson forced the travel. So 9-4 lead, and the Lakers with their second turnover.
Well, that play was busted for seemingly from the very, very beginning. So another turnover for the Lakers, and so far the Hornets making them pay.
Chris Paul over Derek Fisher. Luke Walton on the weak side with the rebound. Lakers had 58 points in the paint the last game, and that's one of the things they've excelled at early this year, is getting points downstairs. Whether it's transition or putbacks, or like we saw that extra pass to Roney. Fish, quick catch and shoot. Can Luke save it? Yes. Good play by Mim. And Fish, look at I found. Glasses it home. So the effort by Luke Walton pays off.
Well, and that's what the Lakers have been doing so well this young season. The effort on both ends of the floor. They've been playing the game with a passion, and positive things happen when you play that way.
Yeah, that effort and that energy. Chandler, little baby hook. Chris Mim clears it out, and Roney gets it as he and Mim were right there. Lakers again looking for early offense. Fish, too strong, go right on line, back to Paul. So Paul comes into the contest averaging 19. He's flipped by Fish on the way by on the little hesitation move. Smart move by Chris Paul. Plays a lot more like a 8th or 9th year guy, not a 3rd year guy. And that's the first on Fish.
Well, I mean, no matter what position, but primarily in the backcourt, you have to learn how to change direction and change speeds. You can be the fastest player in the world, but if you play at only that one speed, you can become easy to guard.
Plenty of time on the shot clock for Paul. It'll be Stojakovic. Very difficult shot. And Kobe comes out with numbers. Fish and Roney. And leads it off on a tough one. Roney blocked from behind by Chandler and off Roney out of bounds.
Early on, overpass. That one's Kobe actually was under the rim. Probably should have taken that shot himself.
Chris Paul. And Chris Mim stayed right with him. David West, the recipient of the drive and the kick out. So a half dozen early for David West in his 5th year out of Xavier of Ohio. Last year career highs across the board, averaging 18 and 8 boards. So early catch up for the Lakers, but very early in the game.
You got to put a body on Tyson Chandler if you're going to attack him. He jumps so well, you got to make him jump with an extra 250 pounds.
A nice drop step at the baseline with a baby hook by Chris Mim. And we've seen that in his arsenal since he arrived to the Lakers. 3-point deficit. Paul getting into the paint too easily. Mo Peterson. And that was creative. That was a look that you don't normally see from Mo Peterson. He's a spot-up, face-up guy. 5 minutes gone here in the first. Still a 5-point deficit. Fish, not timid, is he? And it'll be taken down by West. They had it surrounded. 3 in the green jerseys, the turquoise green of the Hornets. That's what they do best. Creating space, Stojakovic bounced into Fish, created the space. Fish looked back at Tony Brothers, but that's a veteran move by Peja Stojakovic.
Good move. The only problem with it was he walked before he made that move.
Tyson Chandler just got his 2nd foul.
And that's what you like to see. Their pogo stick headed to the sideline. I like Tyson a lot. But, you know, obviously they're not as effective with him sitting on the bench. One thing they're happy to have back this year is Peja's jump shot, because he still possesses one of the nicest strokes in the league. Freed himself by a little shove, and the space gave him what he needed. Room to let leash.
Chris Mim against the inexperienced one, Hilton Armstrong. Plenty of contact that time. It'll come back out. Armstrong with Paul. Trevor's Peterson. That's what he wants to do as he steps beyond the arc and fills it up from 3-point territory. So big time catch up now for the Lakers, down by 10. Halfway through the first 12 minutes. Fish running into his own man. Not a lot of spacing there. And Luke Walton got West out of position. It's a foul from behind on West. That'll be the 2nd team foul on the Hornets.
Mo Pete picked it up. 3/4 court. Just threw it to the other end, threw it right in. After the whistle, of course.
Save it.
No, get it out of your system.
His teammates are save that for the end of the half, end of the quarter. 18-8.
Field goal.
Yep, Phil Jackson wants a timeout, I think.
I hope so. He's halfway out on the court. Finally, Fisher says, yeah, we better give him what he wants, and that's a timeout. And guess what? They need it. They're down by 10.
FSN West presents Lakers basketball, brought to you by the Mercedes-Benz dealers of Southern California and their M-Class luxury SUV.
Welcome back to Staples Center, where the Lakers trail the Hornets by 10 here in the early going. Michael Lee's with you here courtside. You heard a little bit earlier when Joel Myers talked about Peja Stojakovic missing 69 games. Well, last season, the starters for the Hornets missed a total of 133 games, but they finished just 3 games out of the playoffs. So you would think that was a pretty good coaching job by Byron Scott. I asked him about that earlier, and he said he gave himself a B- for the year. And I said, Byron, are you being a little modest? He's like, no, before the season, I expected us to win 47, and even with the injuries, I thought there were 4 or 5 games that we should have won. And I said, did you get a lot of your coaching philosophy from Pat Riley? He said, yeah, and I remember a story very specifically. On a road trip back from the East Coast one time, I get up on the plane, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and the only person up is Riley, and he was working. So that's the way I want to be in a coaching job that works all the time. Joe, so far he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, he's had a successful run, and granted, they haven't made the playoffs the last couple of years. But a guy that's very intense, very passionate. I've seen him on the golf course. I've played with him. I know how focused he can be.
Good focus job by Rooney Turioff there as he goes into a crowd and gets a three-point opportunity.
That's a nice entry. Kobe fed him. And a good attack by Roney for the three-point play. So execution of the timeout by the Lakers. Can they get some stops? Well, there's one out of bounds. It'll belong to Paul and the Hornets. Hornets undefeated coming in with wins over the Kings, the Blazers, and a couple of nights ago, the Denver Nuggets. And they've been doing it with defense. That's what they're most pleased about when you talk to the coaching staff. Stojakovic too wide open in the break for the Lakers. So on that pick and roll, nobody rotated over. Luke got back in time. Armstrong tried to pick up a charge. Chris Mim with Roney there to clean it up. Little flat of the shot, Roney. Good, solid inside position. There's a big difference when Chandler's not on the floor.
There's no question, but Roney does a great job of getting the inside position. Then the Lakers defense breaks down, and everybody, they just let Chris Paul weave his way in for the easy layup. That's what they have to really be conscious of, keeping him out of that paint, or at least making it a crowded painted area.
So it's back to a 7-point lead for the Hornets. Chris Paul, fourth in the league in assists last year, averaging 17 a game. Up this year to 19 and 10. I know it's early. Great entry. Chris Mim on the finish. Second basket of the game. Good to see him get in an early rhythm.
Good job by Derek. Comes off that screen and roll in the corner. Mim's man steps out too far, and easy hoop ensues.
Well, with Kwame Brown out, the Lakers on the deflection. It's picked up by Peterson. Blocked away by Mim. And Mim comes up with a loose stop. He deserved it. Bad pass, though. He had Fish right in front of him. West hit by Mim, and a couple of free throws coming up. So more points, the potential for points off a turnover. 13 foul the Lakers, the first on Chris. So he negates the real good work he did at the defensive end.
Yeah, you got to stop turning the ball over. You have to be really sure of that particular pass, or else just keep it, make somebody come back and get it. Their last basket, though, Chris Mim was pretty sure of that one. An easy deuce on the nice feed from Derek Fisher.
West, their leading scorer so far. He's got 7. Perfect. The free throw line perfect from the field in the first 8 minutes of the game.
8 minutes gone by, and Kobe hasn't taken a shot yet.
Board, he has an assist, but goose eggs next to free throws and field goal attempts. So back to 7. 4 at the free throw line. All 4 free throw attempts for the Hornets taken by that young man we just saw. David West, a 27-year-old out of Garner, North Carolina. Fish. And Luke with a beautiful pass. If Roney can bring it in, maybe the reverse time. Fish instead cradles it and tapped out. Now numbers favoring the Hornets. It'll be Stojakovic setting up for 3. And Roney Turioff battling, and it's going to be a jump ball with Hilton Armstrong.
Well, Lakers dodged one there. Numbers advantage for the Hornets coming down, and missed shot. Lakers and Roney Turioff involved in the jump ball now as Andrew Bynum checks into a nice ovation as Chris Mim goes to the sideline. One thing Roney always brings is that passion, and I talked about that as a unit. This Laker team in the first few games of this young season, they played the game with a passion, and you have to. You just must play the game like you mean it.
You know, you talked about energy, Stu, and they've had that from the very beginning, and it was there against Houston. As Roney controls it, but out of bounds it goes. And is it going to belong to the Hornets? Yes, it will. So fresh shot clock, 3:57 left in the first 12. And New Orleans has the basketball once again. Lakers bring in Andrew Bynum, as you mentioned, and Andrew had another sensational game in only 19 minutes, 15 and 9 in the win on Sunday night. He and Jordan Farmar, those were the two that picked it up at the end of the third and the start of the fourth. Stojakovic free, but Bynum came out. That has to make a difference. Yeah, Eli. And it's blocked away by Kobe out of bounds. Well, another shot clock basically, because they've got 21 up there, but Kobe Not a bad secondary defender.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of that this year. Secondary defender, he's coming from out of nowhere to slap the ball away.
Now in the screen and roll game, it'll be Chris Paul. And Kobe takes it away from Melvin Eli, who just checked into the game, along with Rasul Butler for the Hornets. It'll be his first shot. It will. And Kobe is right there for the Lakers. 5-point game at 22-17. How good is Chris Paul with the basketball? Eli matching up with Andrew. Too close to the basket. Andrew will take the long one.
Kobe again came over as a secondary defender. Missed getting the block.
It's kicked. And Luke had the right idea because Fish, almost like a trailer, was on the wing.
Well, and that's the beauty of having Luke Walton on the floor, too. Whether one of your guards have the ball or not, you still have that third playmaker in Luke Walton.
So the Lakers down by as many as 10. It's down to 5. And another turnover. Paul with Stojakovic.
This is where, as a defender, you have to gamble.
And Derek Fisher made sure he didn't get the basket. He'll get a couple of free throws, though.
Free throws coming when we come back to a guy that I don't know why they're going to make him shoot him. He's automatic from the stripe. Well, the Lakers trailing the Hornets 22-17, and the general of the Hornets, the guy that leads the way, Chris Paul. We talked about him at the top. Quite a player, and young as young can be. Only 22 years old, out of North Carolina, and only his third NBA season. Fourth pick, the 06 Rookie of the Year. And I tell you something, averaged 9 assists a game last year, fourth in the league, and he told me before the game he wants to move up in that category. And guess what, Chris? You're going to. Hornets have had 2 NBA Rookies of the Year. Grandmama, Larry Johnson in '92, and of course, Chris Paul.
You know, a former Laker general manager told me a long time ago that you can't win without a good guard. You got to have one guard in your backcourt. Has to be a real stabilizer, a real good guard. Obviously, that's the logo. Jerry West said that to me. And Deron Williams, who we saw on Sunday, now Tuesday night here at Staples Center, it's Chris Paul. And it truly applies. These guys have brought these teams back into the elite group of the NBA. Utah wouldn't be in that position without Deron Williams right now.
Well, there's no question you need a very talented guard, especially at the point, hopefully. But at the same time, though, you can have that talented guard. If you don't have people that surround him, it's going to be very difficult for them to have the success that they want. And right now, Chris Paul, he's got some pretty good guys playing really well around him as he goes out. And Bobby Jackson, a different type of point guard, comes in. He's more of an offensive-minded player, Bobby Jackson.
Good call. He's a scoring guard. And Bobby Jackson's 34 now, turns 35 in March. Former 6th man of the year in the NBA. Backdoor and miscue on the pass by Radmanovic, who just checked into the game because it was available for Kobe.
Well, you want to
break down Melvin Eli. Lakers down by 9. So turnovers and breakdowns defensively.
On that pass by Radmanovic, you want to either, if you're going to miscue it, make it be too long, not too short.
So they got within 5 after trailing by 10. Kobe with the stutter step. Got away from Butler. Mid-range, thought he was hit. He looks over to Tony Brown.
But that's no man's land, and once the guard gets in no man's land, the last line of defense, they're helpless. They don't want to step out. They want you to come to them.
Well, let's see how the Lakers close out the last 2 minutes of the first quarter. And it's going to be a foul down low. While the shot was in the air, and Jordan Farmer has called for it.
Well, they're in the bonus situation, so it's going to be 2 shots regardless.
And that would, had the basket gone, it would have counted. It would have been 1 free throw because it wasn't the shooter.
Well, they're saying that Jordan, as he was trying to come around the screen, was holding on to the screener a little bit. So it'll be Armstrong shooting 2.
By the way, Stu, 97-91 the final in Chicago. The Clippers now 3-0, and the Chicago Bulls 0-4. And that was one of your underachievers when we joined the guys, Billy Mack and Norm, of the pregame show in the Eastern Conference.
You know, we talked about it being really early. It's just so early in the season to be doing anything like that. But still, when you look at the teams, no one would have expected Miami, Chicago, Washington to be offers this early.
Especially Chicago, because they're healthy. Miami's still missing D-Wade. They're going to get back Dwayne Wade hopefully in the next week or two. But
yeah, but they played a couple of their games on their own floor. They lost to Charlotte at home, so you have to win those games.
Maroney, afterthought. He
That's
wanted to pass it.
Wanted
to pass it, and it wasn't available in the corner. Kobe was fronted out of the play by Butler. So the Lakers now have 5 turnovers. They've given up 8 points off the first 4. Kobe almost got it away from Eli. Now you got to stop the ball.
Now everybody's in chase mode.
And a break off the hands of Eli, out of bounds. And Kobe gone. Fortunately, he's okay.
Well, the hustle had the Hornets scrambled a little bit that time, and they didn't take advantage of the fact that they had a numbers game working.
Hornets shooting 45%, just like the Lakers. Identical from the floor. 9 of 20, the difference. 5 turnovers for the Lakers. Only 2 for New Orleans. Now Farmar with Jackson. Bynum gets a touch. Backing down. The smaller man. And short on the baby hook. He had the advantage on Armstrong. Change of direction. And Peja Stojakovic doesn't get the roll. Kobe gets the ball. Away from his own man, Vladimir Radmanovic.
Well, you have shooter versus shooter there. Radmanovic guarding Peja.
Farmar finds some space. And again. That one was short for Jordan. Well, Jordan missed his first couple last game before he warmed up. And did he ever warm up? Lakers averaging almost 110 points a game. Only 19 so far tonight. Stojakovic another 3. Late close.
Can't make a layup, but you give him a long 3, he'll drill that.
So with their second unit on the floor, with the exception of Stojakovic, it is now the biggest lead of the game at 11 for the Hornets. Kobe, 3's going to be real short. You can see that out of his hands. And now gambling. Fouls Melvin Eli. Sends him to the free throw line.
This is a 12-minute stretch the Lakers want to get out of their system. And they've got 24.9 left in this 12-minute stretch. And then they have to play back to the way they played the last 2 ball games for the final 36 minutes.
Well, they're missing tonight Kwame Brown, along with Mo Evans. Those options are not available for Phil Jackson. Kwame with an ankle sore back for Mo. Lamar hopefully back on Friday. As Eli makes it a 12-point deficit. 8 of 9, make it 9 of 10. They have outscored the Lakers by 8 at the free throw line. So a real positive start for the Hornets. Second game of their 3-game road trip. And now the Lakers will try to hold on for the final shot. Game clock, shot clock almost identical. Spread it for Farmar. Kobe stays in the corner.
They better get to work.
Yeah, will they get it off in time? Get it to Brian Cook. Nope. And will they give him a foul? Yes.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's a break with, well, it's only 0.3 of a second. Let's see how much they put back on the clock, if they put anything back on the clock.
Well, I don't think they should put anything back because that was close to being out. The foul on the play was by Eli. Cook, he's trying to get him run off the 3, which he did, but he picked up the foul. So point, what I give him 1 second.
Yeah, that's a break. He got fouled with about 0.7 of a second, 0.6 of a second left. So time, what will it be for the Lakers? Farmar, and fouled by Jackson. It goes! Intelligent, savvy play by Jordan Farmar.
Well, I would like to say that too, but I just think it's the opposite. I think it was a very bad play by Bobby Jackson. There's 1 second left. Guy catches the ball. You don't get into the shot blocking category.
But did he release it in time?
Well, yeah, I think he definitely had it released in time. Even if he didn't, the foul occurred before the shot. I mean, before time.
Continuation.
They're going to review that. So they'll review it to see if the ball was out of his hands. But he's in the act of shooting. So it's going to be either a 3-point play or 2 free throws coming to Jordan Farmar. That's just a bad decision by Bobby Jackson because with the hard hit, we look at the clock. Is it out of his hands before the light goes on?
Bang, bang.
Bang, bang, but I think it was out of his hands. It's really close. Well, we'll decide when they decide. They're looking at it, and now they have decided. They're saying the basket counts, and it'll be a free throw coming to Jordan Farmar for the 3-point play. Again, that's a catch. Why are you in the shot blocking department there? That's where you just, hey, if you make that shot, more power to you.
Now give Farmar some credit. Getting Jackson to deliver the blow. And that'll do it. So instead of going to the timeout at the end of the quarter, down by 13, the Lakers trail by 10.
And that's a big play going to the break, because as you mentioned, 13 versus 10 with a little bit of momentum. But let's see how they come out in the second quarter. Do they take advantage of that momentum?
Well, it's not 1 now, it's still 10. But Farmar again coming through in the last few seconds. Yesterday at Dodger Stadium, a big day for all of us, and an old friend returns home, and I mean it. I worked 3 years on TV here in LA calling Angels games with Joe Torre. The old Z channel into Sports Channel LA, and now Joe Torre is back as the Dodgers manager. A believable guy, a likable guy, a winner, big-time winner. We're joined now by the voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers on radio and television, Charlie Steiner. Charlie, welcome to Lakers Live Wired.
Hi, Joel. Vin is the voice. I am merely a distant echo.
Well, we put you in good company.
Indeed.
Anytime you're in the neighborhood of Vin Scully.
I get to play Pepper with Babe Ruth every day.
You're right about that, and you got to be excited. A dream for anybody who travels with a baseball team to deal with a quality person like Joe Torre.
Like you, I worked with Joe for 3 years also. He was the manager, and I was doing the radio play-by-play with the Yankees. In talking with him yesterday, I said, Joe, I've been out here for 3 years. What took you so long?
We're up here with Stu Lance and talking to Charlie Steiner, Dodger broadcaster, about the acquisition of Joe Torre. And now you can get a couple of young arms, and I mean a couple of pitchers, because Billingsley, Penny, Lowe, fill up that staff for us, will you?
Well, absolutely. And then again, if Jason Schmidt is able to come back to where he once was, or close to once where he was, and you're looking at 4 very solid starters. The one thing that Joe made clear yesterday at his press conference / coronation, pitching, 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 and that's what he wants. And apparently he will have an awful lot of input with Ned Colletti, who's down in Orlando now at the general managers meetings. The Dodgers certainly want to beef up their rotation.
Sacha drawing the block. He'll go to the free throw line. We're talking to Charlie Steiner. 10:23 left in the half.
Let's change courses a little bit, Charlie. Think back. I don't know, what year was it when the guy by the name of Carl Lewis was singing the national anthem?
You are cold.
Hey,
that is really cold.
You know,
no, I'm not. I'm not cold at all. I just wanted to hear what Charlie had to say, because I remember Charlie's reaction when he did the replay.
You know, I think I lead the league in YouTube. That was 1992, before a Nets game. And, of course, we were at ESPN at the time. And I'm driving to work, and I hear maybe about 10 or 15 seconds of this hideous anthem on the radio. And so we have our little production meeting before Sports Center. I said, you know, I heard Carl Lewis do the anthem today. It was from last night. It was really awful. Do you think we have it somewhere in-house? Well, they got it. And as the day went on, and they decided we would use that as the kicker, the final story of the show that night. And as everybody heard, it was not a terrific performance. And each time as the day went on, I'd be watching and watching and watching. And each time I heard this wonderful version of the national anthem, I would lose it every bit as much as I did eventually on the air. I figured about 7 hours later, 25 or I'll pick up the story after the timeout, huh?
Hey, Charlie, we got to run, but we appreciate your coming. And congratulations on Russell Martin picking it up. I know you got him that Gold Glove today. Thanks again, Charlie.
I wish I could have finished the story. Take care, Joel.
36-27, 9:44 to play in the half. And while we have the opportunity, we'll remind you that Joe Torre, in my own words, tonight after Lakers Live. So a close look at Joe Torre, Brooklyn native, now in Southern California. And let's get back to Charlie Steiner while we have an opportunity before we put it back into play. And Charlie, that story, the infamous national anthem.
As I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. So anyway, we've watched the thing about 25 times during the course of that day, 15 years ago. And I figured by the time we got on the air, I would be laughed out. As it turned out, I couldn't have been more wrong. And there we were for about 35 or 40 seconds until the show mercifully came to an end. Me totally losing it. And it's 15 years later, and there's not a day that goes by that somebody doesn't ask me about it.
So you two it makes it live.
Yeah.
Stays out for Butler. Hey, Charlie, best of luck. I know you're going to enjoy the offseason, but looking forward to a really good year with Joe Torre.
Absolutely, and enjoy the Joe Torre interview tonight.
All righty. Thanks, Charlie. Charlie Snyder, the broadcaster for the Dodgers, as Brian Cook line drives it home over Eli. So the second unit, after it got to 14, all of a sudden it's down to 7, 36-29.
I'm surprised the number of players that will let Brian Cook face up without putting the ball on the floor.
Good play, Farmar. Jordan got it away with a poke. He's got Radmanovich. Go yourself. Instead, it's Sasha. A triple off the front of the rim. I thought Jordan would do it like Sunday night where he took it to the rack and he drew a foul.
Well, he got to the rack.
Bobby Jackson can't spin it home. Cook kept it alive. It's Julian Wright, the rookie. He gives him a second chance for Jackson in the corner. And I think somebody got away with the shove, Brian Cook. Spin. Sasha setting up Radmanovich. Yes! It is a wide open affair now as the Lakers are back within 4. It's a 10-0 run for the second unit.
I tell you, this second unit really gets after it too, don't they? I mean, the pace has picked up quite a bit, and Radmanovich is making the most of it.
Rasul Butler spinning. He's got long arms. He's got some length. And he's always been able to shoot. I remember his rookie year with Miami. Off the bench, he had 53s.
Gotta find Radmanovich.
Hot hand. Will it continue? No. Right off the lip, and you could see it short out of his hand. 8 minutes to play in the half. Julian Wright beat him to the punch. And Brian Cook didn't get back in time.
That's why you have to really be smart about how much pace you play with, because if you get caught up and running, and you keep taking those quick shots, they end up coming back to give you opportunities like that.
Second unit over the last 2 games. Sandra Bynum had to go off the foot of Armstrong and thought it was going to be out of bounds, but Butler retrieved it. Is it going to be points off a turnover? Somebody's got to stop Bobby Jackson. Nobody did. He had an opportunity to go even closer if he wanted to, but settled for the 14-footer. Did not over-penetrate. Back to 10 after it was down to 4. Sasha, quick release. He rifles it home. 42-35 as the Lakers are now 3 of 8 on their 3-point attempts.
You got to tighten up this defense. Giving up too many easy opportunities here.
And the regulars are ready to come in now for the Hornets on the next whistle. Butler did it again. It's the identical spot opposite side of the paint, just inside the free throw line. As Bobby Jackson. Clock is not running for some reason.
Nobody knows it.
Yep. And a foul as Sasha was on the attack.
The clock was totally stopped. Both the shot clock and the game clock seemingly had malfunctioned.
And I don't think they still have any idea that they lost a few seconds. Now, Mike Callahan is coming over to the sideline.
Well, all you have to do is find out what was the time on the clock when the Hornets scored last. Look up. Try to make a determination as to what should be on the clock.
Lakers have the basketball, but they're down by 9. That was the first team foul on either side so far in the second 12. Bruce Willis, Jeffrey Katzenberg, a lot of regulars here tonight. And that's going to be the course for the Lakers as they call a timeout, because it's been an entertaining style so far, and the usual.
Still 6:51. They did take off a little bit of time, and now Phil Jackson says, let's talk it over, because we need more of this. Rad knocking it down, or if it's not Rad, let it be Sasha.
Lakers have the basketball, but still a 9-point deficit. And the Hornets also brought in 3 of their 5 starters back onto the floor when they put it into play. Well, Laker fans, your friends at Discount Tire Centers are giving away 2 free Laker tickets to 1 winner at every DTC location. Locate the Purple Prize Center, your nearest participating location to enter. Promotion will end November 12th. Discount Tire Centers, proud sponsor of the Lakers. Well, the Lakers giving up 12 points on 7 turnovers, and right now that is the difference. Trailing by 9, it's 12-2. In points off turnovers for the Hornets. So they've got to clean it up that way. And let's see if Kobe is going to be back on the floor for the Lakers.
He comes back with Roney, Andrew Bynum, Radmanovich, and Jordan Farmar. Tyson Chandler returns. Basically, the 3 of their starters return.
A good challenge now for Andrew Bynum. Bynum off the bench. Missed his only shot. He's got 3 boards in 9 minutes. And out the timeout, frustration for the Lakers. Another turnover.
Wow.
Too many. That was the case against Houston on opening night. Houston only had 2 in the first quarter, 7 at half. They've already got 8 here. Paul for 3. And off the lip of the rim, Bynum gets his 4th, pulling it away from Kobe. So a lot of time left in the half. Kobe up against Rasul Butler, and he carried the basketball. And there's no disagreement with that as long as there's consistency on that call.
Kobe gets a delay of game for not throwing the ball back to the official. Throws it out of bounds. So the Lakers have delay of games. That's the only thing that means. They give you a warning, and then after that, it's a technical foul.
So make sure all the young guys have their shirts tucked in when they come onto the floor. We saw that at Phoenix. It'll be an easy look for David West, uncontested. And Andrew Bynum, inside position on Tyson Chandler. The Lakers still down by 9. Shooting 41%. Roney wanted to go to Bynum. It was fronted out. Andrew opposite side potentially. Kobe beating Mo Peterson, who ridden a little bit. And then doesn't get the layup.
That's supposed to travel.
Yep. It did draw. It grazed the rim. Otherwise,
it had to.
Yep. Just didn't get the glass, did it? So Kobe gets it. Mo Peterson pops out on the 3, and boy, is Bynum cleaning up. Now Farmar keeps it away. Chris Paul with a stiff arm. 5.5 left. First step and a good one by Luke Walton.
And that's what you have to do to him.
With Peja, somebody's got to attack him.
Yeah, you have to make him play on that end. You know, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and that's the same thing that applies to defense. Defense is looked upon as a chain with 5 links. So you try to attack the weakest link in that defense, and it kind of breaks the others down.
Farmar sits down, couple of assists. Also, that big 3-point play at the end of the first. Kobe up against Peterson. Trying to split the double. Now the shot clock down on Luke Walton. It'll be Kobe. Gets it off in time. Kobe comes through. He's on the line. Take it anyway. 5-point deficit for the Lakers. Kobe's up to 8. And he's 4 of 6 after going 13 for 19 last game.
Took him a while to get involved in the scoring department, but now he's starting to heat up a bit.
West spinning on his offhand. And Kobe came over to get a piece of it.
I thought West might have gotten fouled on that play.
Now Luke free. And Luke too strong. Andrew Bynum, go back up, big guy. He will! 44-41. Nice spurt by the Lakers. 3-point deficit.
What I like with Andrew now is you see just the action after the score, showing some emotion. That's what you got to see. He's talking on defense. That's what I like.
Chris Paul with a stutter step, almost lost it against Derek Fisher. So Fish back out there. Deal with Paul. Pull the chair out one of these times. They'll call a foul even though Roney didn't have a reach. Will they call it on Fish? Yes. Roney had his arms up into the air.
Well, Andrew Bynum gets the last basket that I was talking about, and the reaction that he makes. Nice offensive rebound, throw it down, and then show me some emotion, big fella. That rubs off. It really does. It lets the players know that, yeah, you're into it. You want the rock on the box, and I'll get it to you more often. Sunday with 15 and 9 on 6 out of 7 from the field. Yeah, that'll get the job done.
And over the last 29 points. 22 rebounds. And already tonight, Andrew's got 8 boards in 12 minutes of play. David West, he's been at the line. And now he is 5 of 5. Fish has to sit out. And he was really upset with that last call. He went over to Tony Brown and talked for a long time by Fish's standards because he's not a complainer. He didn't think that he had reached in there. And West had put the ball into the chest of Roney. So a couple of free throws and a 5-point lead again for the Hornets. So Fish is done for the half. And Farmar's back out there. Good ball movement. That's what they've been doing over the last couple of games. Keeping it moving around. Andrew Bynum. He's got Stojakovic. Take it. Instead, they go with the long one. I thought he put it to the floor. He can go around Stojakovic too.
I'm glad he didn't try though. I mean,
Paul He spaced it, and he knew where Stojakovic was. Chris Paul, you could say he's got eyes behind his head, but he saw him.
Well, he knew where he was all the time.
He saw him when he penetrated. He knew where Stojakovic was going to be. Back to 8. After they got it down to 3, a 5-0 run, Luke bangs his way home. There's the guy. You have to exploit him. We're not picking on him. He's never going to be even third-team all-defense, but you've got to exploit him at that end of the floor.
Well, he did make fourth team, though.
49-43 with fall away, and Paul doesn't get the roll, and Andrew kept it away from Chandler.
And nice outlet. See how quickly he got rid of the basketball?
There you go, crossover Stojakovic. Finger roll by Jordan Farmar. He recognized it was Stojakovic, too. 49-45.
You leave Peja alone.
Why?
You're picking on Peja.
I can't believe you're coming to his defense. Chris Paul. He had to get rid of it in a hurry. He thought Bynum was going to be involved, but Andrew wisely settled back because he had Chandler coming into the play.
Well, Lakers got 2:40 or so to go in this half, and they're back in it, so they got to clean it up the rest of the way.
Kobe had it slide out. Roney took it away, and they're going to call a reach on a loose ball foul. And that's the second team foul.
Well, 2:42 left to go in the half. The Lakers fighting back, down 51-45 thanks to this 3 by Peja.
Thank you, Billy. 6-point deficit for the Lakers, playing catch-up all night. And fortunate they're only down by 6 with 2:42 to play in the half.
And there's a lot of time to catch up. And our Carl's Jr. Exmo shows you how you can do it. Jordan Farmar breaking down the defense inside, lay it up, lay it in. You get those kind of opportunities, you're going to cut into that lead in a hurry. But defensively, you've got to cut down on their opportunities.
So the bench scoring has been critical for the Lakers over the first 3. And I bring that up because we saw if you don't get it, what it can mean in the wrong direction. They only had 11 in the opening game. Then 67 at Phoenix. 41 from the bench on Sunday. Radmanovich has had a lot to do with that as well. And he's done a good job. Right now there's 20 off the bench. Got to stop the ball. Farmar hooked him. It'll be a foul on Jordan. Chris Paul will do that to you.
Well, you know, coming out of that timeout, I would like to see the Lakers change up a little bit. Maybe go to a quick zone out of the timeout. Disrupt the offensive set that they had called in the timeout. So now with Jordan picking up the foul, that brings in the the first-round pick, Tavares Crittenton.
In uniform tonight due to the status of Kwame Brown out with the ankle. Mo Evans, lower back, it's a little bit sore, so an opportunity for Javaris to try to track Chris Paul, who got away for the floater, and Chandler can't get it away. Luke has got to worry about Paul. Kobe blowing by Peterson and whips it in, and Roney ready for the pass.
What a pass. Off the dribble. If your hands aren't in the ready position, wow.
You could lose a tooth, huh? Now Tyson Chandler choked off on the baseline and blocked away by Andrew Bynum. Kobe with the save. Here comes Crittenton on the break. Good ball movement. Backdoor. Roney a little bit too strong. He wanted to make it a dramatic play. Chandler denied but fouled. And then Chandler, a little activity after the play, gets the attention of Luke and Kobe.
Well, a minute ago, Kobe gave Roney a pass. I mean, coming down and just a whip off the dribble. Roney converts it into an easy deuce. That's the kind of play where if your hands aren't ready, boy, you're eating that one. The leather will taste rather bad.
Well, I remember when Magic Johnson joined the Lakers. And you probably have some stories about that. And if you didn't have your hands up, bang, pinball.
But let me take you back a little further. The guy that used to hit more people in the head with the basketball than I've ever seen. Pistol Pete Maravich. I'm telling you, his first year with the Hawks, it was hilarious. Used to watch some highlights of him. Guys just never expected him to be able to throw the ball from the angles that he had it, but he could.
Tyson Chandler, dramatic improvement at the free throw line. You can see it in his form. So Chandler, his first trip to the stripe. He's got 4 points and 3 boards. Now Crittenton up against Paul.
Ooh,
yeah, that was a discontinued dribble completely.
Yeah,
he pulled it up.
Off. But Lakers have turned it over
double digits.
Times.
And they're down 12-2 right now as Paul weaves and tried to get inside. So what an experience for Crittenden just to try to stay in front.
Offensive
Yeah,
foul.
West used his off-arm completely. Easy call for Mike Callahan on our side of the floor. So 53-47. Lakers in pretty good shape, all things considered.
All things considered, you're right. I mean, they have not played the way we've become to expect them in this young season, but they're right there.
Luke wanted to go back instead. He's working on Stojakovic. Andrew, will he get the roll? Yes, his length over Tyson Chandler.
His length over Tyson's length, and Andrews won out.
Andrew now with 4 points and 9 rebounds, staying in front of Chandler, who gave up the dribble. So final minute.
See, you don't help on Tyson, though. You make him go to the offense.
And make him throw that runner up. It batted around. David West back down with it. Blocked from behind by Kobe. Out of bounds. It'll belong to the Hornets. Second chance opportunity.
I tell you, the interior defense for the Lakers, they're really contesting. I think Kobe is leading the way in that department. He seems to be contesting everybody's
That's
shot.
at least his second block tonight. And make it, yes, his second. So fresh shot clock for the Hornets. Paul up against Crittenden. Chandler still in the paint for a half hour. On the back door, Chris Paul got the best of Javaris Crittenden. Big time. So 2 for 1 for the Lakers, and they don't have to rush. Skip pass, Luke Walton from Kobe. Yes! Kobe sized it up early. 55-52.
And just about the right time for your 2 for 1, too.
Now somebody's got to stop Paul. Ooh, almost a turnover, and it is. It traveled on Chris Paul, lost the handle, tried to do it too quickly almost against Crittenden.
Well, the high dribble would have been okay if he could have immediately picked it up. But he had to travel a ways to get to the ball. Therein created the turnover.
And a good move. Roni Turiaf has 2 fouls. Get him off the floor before he can potentially pick up a third. And I think they'll do that on the Hornets side as well. Tyson Chandler's got 2. They'll get him off and bring in Melvin Eli, a former Clipper.
Also another three-point shooter, bringing in Brian Cook, because you know Kobe's going to probably ISO this play. And they're going to have to help. And he's finding those perimeter players.
Shot clock, game clock, separated by 4 seconds. So Kobe up against Mo Peterson. Andrew Bynum coming on the high screen and roll.
And they're zoning it.
Kobe thought he was going to get the whistle, and he does. It's a late whistle. It was a shove by Paul, and it should be 3 free throws.
What a play. Now, they had a bad defensive play to end the first quarter. This is a bad defensive play to end the half. And that's just Kobe knowing what the situation is. Comes around, says contact, throws it up, continuation. A lot of times, though, they won't give you that. So there have been a number of times that I've seen Kobe do that same thing, and they just say out, sideline out.
Well, that was like talk radio. That was a long delay on that whistle. Tony Brown, he's been kind of the center of both teams early in the game tonight. He's ready to take a break, too.
So much for your theory of keeping Roni off with those 2 fouls.
Tyson Chandler is coming back into the game, and Roni, boy, that's surprising, especially with Kwame out of the lineup tonight. So, and they're still talking to Tony Brown. So Kobe tries to tie it with his 3rd free throw attempt. And these are his first free throws of the contest, and he does exactly that. Kobe's got 11 to go along, 5 boards, 3 assists, 2 blocks. And now the final seconds for Paul and the Hornets, who led by as many as 14. Dribble penetration, Chris Paul. Not too bad, is he? 1.1, not a bad idea. Roni, can he get it off? Yes! Count it! Touchdown, Lakers!
Well, they're going to have to review this one also, I guess. Shots that end quarters or halves or whatever the case may be, as the Lakers give up a layup on one end, basically, and then a long pass to get it to close the quarter. What a play by Luke. Long pass and Roni. That's a nice tight end. Catch it, shoot it, but was it out of his hands? Were the lights on before the ball left his hands? It has to be out of his hands before the light around the rim.
So we
come on,
and we got to let them use Exmo. You said, right?
Well, they'll use our shot, believe me. That's a good catch. Is it in his hands? It's in his hands.
Yeah,
no basket.
No basket.
No basket.
I was in the end zone with that one already.
It looked good, you know, for the fans, but it doesn't count.
So the Hornets, will go to the locker room with a 2-point lead. But as I mentioned, with a couple of minutes left, and the Lakers were only down by about 4 or 5. All things considered, really good shape for the Lakers because it was a slow beginning at the outset in the first 12 minutes. Too many turnovers, and I got a feeling that's what the Laker coaching staff is going to be talking about. They have to be pleased, though, with second chance points and points in the paint. That's been kind of a buzzword for the Lakers, points in the paint, because they had 58 against the Utah Jazz, a team that can go inside. And now they're leading. We knew it was going to be wiped off. Lawrence Tanner, you can hear LT in the background, letting the fans know. But it was simple, and we could all see it. So the Hornets go to the break up by 2, 57-55. Time now for the Jack in the Box halftime report. Let's join Billy McDonald along with Norm Nixon.